In this video, I'll introduce you to the BIM execution plan, or BIP for short. It's probably a tenth of the size of a real office BIP, just shortened for the competition tasks. And we see the report reference with naming as per 1192 standards. So we have project code, originator, volume, level, SP this time for the type is a specification, Z generic for the role, and then we have 2203 for a classification for a BIP, which under ISO 19650 obviously we would remove that, and then we'll have the sequential number 0001 / BIM execution plan as the description. What I plan to do is just take you through the BIM execution plan and just highlight the key areas that should be relevant to you during the competition. So here we have document details where we'll see the employer, got the employer's name, project name and employer's code. And we should see the employer's code at the top of the page. So we can see WS UK, in this case we'll have it as WS UK 19, this was last year's document. And then we can look at revision, issue date and so on. We also see Alistair Brown and Gary Hogg. We'll see BIM objectives, what is the objective of competition, then contents, and if you're looking for a key area, project details for example, it tells you obviously which section and which page number that's on. And then we'll find scope, and then we can see scope, so the scope of the project. This BIP is used to document, and we can see the standards 1192 obviously would be updated for any future competitions, would be the standards ISO 19650. So project information, that's a key area where we can see what the project code may be. So the employer's project code, WS UK 19 in this instance, the employer's name, contact details, project address, etc. If we look at part 1.3, we'll see the project schedule, which is our phases and milestones for this competition. So milestones, here it says delivery date, we should change that to time. This is just a one-day task, so it being a one-day task then it would just be time, it's all going to happen on the same day. If it was a national competition or a European competition, then that happens over multiple days, so therefore we would need to see the date as well as the time within here. So what that's trying to explain to you is that task A, that you've seen the instructions document, task A, delivery time would be due by 11 AM. So if you're starting the task at 9 AM, then that should be fully uploaded and you complete task A by 11 AM, and so on for task B, etc. If we scroll down just a little bit further then to the next page, we'll see project deliverables. What is it that you're actually being asked to produce? Now the responsibility is Worldskills UK competitor, that's you, and deliverables are structural project information model, architectural, federated model, and then sheeted up elevations, floor plans, clash report, soft issues, could also include other things like visualizations, etc. So in conjunction with that previous section with dates, we also see information exchange may happen at certain times, and here it also tells us what that format needs to be. So for example, if you're asked to exchange a 3D model, then that should be done as an IFC format as well as native format, native being Revit for example. Federated models here, NWF format are required, drawing files, PDF and native format, any clash reports, HTML tablature, Kobe data would be Excel and IFC obviously, and any reports or specifications are PDF. So at no point are you uploading any Word documents, everything would need to be PDF for example here. And then if we scroll down to the Kobe requirements for the project, a lot of the data such as student email, college, university competitor, name of building, etc. would be manually input, but everything you can see highlighted in red that says auto would be automatically filled through running the Kobe BIM interoperability tools. Underneath standard methods and procedures, we can see the standards that we'd be asked to adhere to. So 19650 Part 1 for file naming, 19650 Part 2 for collaboration and for guidance or explanation on that. We've got 1192 Part 4 for asset management, so we can look at Kobe for that. Uniclass 2015, BS 8541 Part 1 for any object naming, so if you rename any families, for example, they need to be renamed to that. And we should see examples of this throughout the BEP also. Another key area of the BEP would be 4.2, file naming conventions. And following ISO 19650, we can see here we have project, in this case WS UK 19. So we have project code, originator, volume, level, type, role, number and description, and underneath that would just be a short description of what each of the fields might mean. In future videos I'll show you some practical application of this. Anytime that I name files to BIM 360, I'll show you how to follow the naming conventions of the BEP. And then we can see volume strategy, and that exists to inform us what we've to name the various volumes. So Z1 for volume 1, whether that's steelwork or architecture, Z2 for volume 2, etc. And ZZ has to be used if the model has not been split or does include multiple volumes or zones. And obviously Uniclass 2015 is used also. Key stage, again, 4.6 within the BEP, project specific naming conventions. And what we're looking at here would be what are the various floor numbers named, or your levels, so 00, 01, 02, B1, B2, B3, etc. for basement levels, and how do we number spaces or rooms. And we see examples here within the BEP of how all rooms and spaces must be numbered. So for instance, level code, so 00 for the level. If it's on level 00, it would be 00-RM because it's a room, -0001, which is a sequential room number then that follows that. And again, we mentioned this in the instructions document, but 4.7 is another key area of the BEP, and it describes what the various status codes might be that we use. So where we're working in work in progress, that would be S0. While we are working in shared, if it's shared for coordination, then status code S1. And if we're working in shared and we have shared something for information, then the status code for that would be S2. Key stage again, 4.10, which is model division or model subdivision. We're looking at here the work sets. So again, you'll be asked at some point to create the architectural work sets, and they're defined here as architecture, beginning with A, and then the structural work sets, which are again defined under structural with an S. And while there's a lot of other information in the BIM execution plan, in this BIM execution plan in particular, there's a lot of areas that don't really apply to you during the competition. So another key stage would be section 6, which is describing what you physically need to hand over. So we can see here structural project information model volume 2, architectural project information model volume 2, a federated model of sort, and you'll see that during the tasks it will ask you to federate the model and then produce it or share it. So scrolling down to the appendix, what we can see is the classifications that we've been asked to come into. We've been asked to assign classification data to windows and to doors, and we'll be asked to assign them to the third level. So here we can see it's system class, and the window system class that we've been asked to assign is 25, 30, 95, and the door classification, again system class, 25, 30, 20, or system classification to the third level. And again, that would be from the NBS toolkit. We would find that information. The other point to note while we're here is that the information is required by information exchange number 2, and we would see that through the date and time of when our project deliverables were due. One of those, so the second one would have been information exchange number 2, so we have to look back from here to that to see at what time was this due. And I think Information Exchange 2 was actually due at 1 p.m. And again, if we scroll down, we'll see within the appendix we've got the project code. So WSUK 19 for this specific project. So that would obviously be used for everything that we name. And then the originator code. And the originator code for us this time, so we would look at New College Lanarkshire, so NCL. I work for New College Lanarkshire, so I would use NCL. You may be told that you're working for Worldskills UK, so your originator code and everything you save would be WSUK, for example. Okay, another key stage in the BIP would be 8.4, so your types. And again, as per ISO 19650, M3 would denote a 3D model file, M2 a 2D drawing taken from a model file, AF animation file, CM combined model, multidiscipline. We can look down to roles and see architectural, landscape architectural. We have S for structural, MEP, mechanical. And further down the appendix C, we'll see the clash detection sets and tolerances. So here we can see on level 1, set 1 would be the columns 254 by 73 versus the stairs, and the tolerance for that would be 50 millimeters. Now it will be described earlier in one of the tasks whether this is to be a hard clash or a clearance or soft clash. So you can see also all mechanical equipment at roof level versus universal beams at roof level with a 50 millimeter tolerance. And that is the end of the BIM execution plan.